Hey, what's happening, Disneyers? Me, the Guy01, and welcome to this week's Versus episode on the Walkthrough channel. This week, it's the People's Champ, The Rock, against the head of the table, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns. And if you guys saw SmackDown yesterday, you'll know exactly why we're doing this matchup. But before we get into that, we got a few birthdays to get through, and then we got a lot to talk about. Remember how last week I said we had a lot to talk about? Well, we got a lot to talk about this week. So this past week we had a few birthdays. We had Sheamus' birthday on January 28th. He turned 46. Becky Lynch's birthday was on January 30th. She turned 37. And then it was Ronda Rousey's birthday on February 1st. She also turned 37. Alright, let's get into the Royal Rumble, because that's probably what we have the most to talk about with. Logan Paul faced Kevin Owens in a match for the US title. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller ran down to cause a distraction and give Logan Paul brass knuckles, which he then didn't get to use on Kevin Owens. Instead, Owens used the brass knuckles on Paul, resulting in a DQ, which allowed Logan Paul to retain. Afterwards, Kevin Owens put Logan Paul through a table. We then had the Women's Royal Rumble, which was probably the match of the night, and definitely overshadowed the men's. We had the return of Naomi. Liv Morgan returned. Jade Cargill made her in-ring debut for WWE. And one of the biggest surprises, TNA Knockouts champion Jordynne Grace made an appearance. So we've got Naomi and Jordynne Grace, who are both, working for TNA, appear in this match. So just that concept alone opens the door for tons of potential matches and crossovers in the future. And it's not just that they appeared in the match, they had acknowledged Jordynne Grace as the TNA Knockouts champion. I mean, this is a huge deal that WWE and TNA are not only, trading, allowing each other to use talent, but acknowledging the other companies and almost kind of, what's the term? It's not marketing, but promoting, I guess. So the match ended with Bayley winning, breaking Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan's tied record for longest time spent for a woman in the Royal Rumble by 2 minutes, lasting over an hour and 4 minutes, to win the Royal Rumble and set herself up for a match against a women's champion. This then led into the men's Royal Rumble, which, like I said, did not match up to the women's Royal Rumble. The really only big return was Andrade Cien Almas. He returned, that was surprising to see him. The final two were Cody Rhodes and CM Punk, which I think everyone saw. Those were the two favorites of the match, and basically I don't think anyone would have been upset with whoever won. Cody did end up winning, last in eliminating Punk, before calling out Reigns right away, saying, "I'm coming for you," to Reigns, who was watching on. Now, the big thing that came out of this match and the Royal Rumble event as a whole, other than, Bayley and Cody winning, was that fans noticed that CM Punk was grabbing his right arm towards the end of the match, and even after the match ended, he was still clutching his right arm. Fans also noticed that he started slowing down in the closing sequence of the Royal Rumble match between him and Cody. And it was then later confirmed that CM Punk did tear his triceps and will be out of action. And I'm going to get into that more when we get into Raw, so keep that in mind. Anyway, other than the two Royal Rumble matches and the United States title match, the only other match on the card, the main card at least, was the Universal Undisputed Championship match, which saw Roman Reigns beat AJ Styles, Randy Orton, and LA Knight to retain the Undisputed title with some assistance from Solo Sikoa, because of course he got some help. Now, I kind of played with the idea of, hey, this is a great way for them to, get the title off Reigns without having him lose and making him look weak, but we all knew he wasn't going to lose. I mean, there's no way. You can't end a reign like the one Reigns is on right now. The only way for a reign like this to end is for Reigns to lose himself. He has to be the one to drop the title. And there's no other time or place that they can do it other than the main event of WrestleMania. I mean, you knew it wasn't going to happen here. I mean, yeah, the Fatal 4-Way was kind of cool. Build up some suspense that, hey, there's a way for him to lose the title without losing the match. But, yeah, that's not going to happen. Not there. Not in the Fatal 4-Way. So that was it for the Royal Rumble. For a lot of people, it was a little underwhelming. I think part of that was because there weren't that many matches. Like I said, I think there was only 4 matches. The 2 Rumble matches, US title match, and then the Undisputed title match. That was it. And the Men's Royal Rumble didn't really match up to the Women's. The Women's was probably the most memorable match of the whole event. But I think what it's going to be remembered for more than any of the matches is CM Punk getting injured. And that led into Monday Night Raw, where the big story going into that show was not who Cody was going to choose to face at WrestleMania. We already knew the answer. Well, we thought we did, but we'll get into that. Who Bayley's going to choose to face at WrestleMania, none of that mattered. It was all about what's the deal with Punk. And he came out, confirmed that he did tear his triceps, and he will miss WrestleMania this year. And God, that hurt. I mean, I think WWE is freaking cursed. I mean, January has been a nightmare year for them. I mean, God. I mean, just everything kept going wrong for them. I mean, it started with Charlotte Flair getting injured. I can't remember when she got injured, if it was like late 2023 or early 2024, but yeah, so Charlotte was out. She's going to miss WrestleMania. Then they had that series of weeks where multiple matches across both shows, Raw and SmackDown, had to end due to injury. You had Seth Rollins, the reigning World Heavyweight Champion. He gets injured, and we still don't know if he's going to be able to perform at Mania. And now you've got CM Punk, the guy who is supposed to face Seth. He's now injured, and he's missing WrestleMania. And remember last week when I said that Seth Rollins getting injured completely turned everything on its head and opened up a whole new door of possibilities? Well, CM Punk getting injured didn't really, put everything on its head again, but I think it's putting everything into like chaos freefall mode. I mean, we basically all knew the original plan was going to be Reigns versus Cody and then Seth versus Punk. And that was basically confirmed more or less, both by inside sources and just kind of guessing of predicting things on how WWE's been booking things. And then Seth's out, or potentially out, and it's like, okay, Seth versus Punk might not happen, but we might be able to get Punk versus Cody. But what does that mean for Reigns? Well, now Punk's out, so it's like, okay, so really all we've got now is Cody versus Reigns. But, like I said, we thought that's what was going to happen, but we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, it just sucks that, Punk comes back and, it's this probably one of the biggest returns in pro wrestling history. I will say that. Not of the last decade, not of this last 20 years, ever. A return that we never thought would happen. Happened in Chicago. Got a crazy reaction, and everything was going so well. He comes back to his first televised match in 10 years at the event that he walked out of the day after. I mean, think about it. CM Punk's last match in WWE was the 2014 Royal Rumble. His first on, televised match back in WWE is the 2024 Royal Rumble. I mean, you can't write a better story than that. And then injured. And now he's going to miss WrestleMania. And it's just like, oh my God, come on. And like I said, it just feels like, man, WWE, they were on the verge of having one of the best years that they've had ever. I mean, all the momentum was on their side. They had the return of CM Punk. They had the return of Randy Orton. They had, two great working champions in CM Punk and Gunther. A rising star in LA Knight. People are more interested in WWE than they've been in years. They just had this big deal with Netflix, and then injury after injury, just things going wrong. And then on top of it, they've got this whole, lawsuit investigation going on this past month around Vince McMahon that has the potential to destroy the legacy of the entire company. And it's just like, wow. Just when everything looked like it was going so well, everything just fell apart so quickly. I mean, it's crazy. Now, I should mention that the segment with Punk, his promo, actually ended with Drew McIntyre coming out, confronting Punk. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. Before attacking him, and then targeting his right arm before Sami Zayn came out to make the save. Now, I don't want to start getting into conspiracy theories, but, WWE, when they book stuff, you kind of gotta look at it. I think it's interesting that usually when a wrestler is legitimately injured, they have them work as little as possible. They don't want them to get further injured. So I think it's interesting that Punk, despite having a legitimate triceps injury, which I completely believe and I don't doubt for a second that he's legitimately injured, I do find it interesting that they had Drew McIntyre come out and beat him up. They had Punk, had to sell. He took some hits and he had to sell moves. I think that's interesting. Now, I'm not saying that Punk's not actually injured. I believe he is injured. But I do think, what if they're, using this, they're not inflating, but they're exaggerating the extent of the injury? Is it a Seth Rollins situation where he has the potential to be back in time for Mania? Again, don't want to be conspiracy theorists, but, you're a wrestling fan. You got to kind of look at these, and WWE has done this kind of angle before where a wrestler's injured, don't think they're coming back, and then, hey, they're back. I mean, we've seen it done with John Cena before. Now, that was like a rare exception because Cena just, for some reason, heals freakishly quick. But, I mean, it's happened before. So, I don't know. Anyway, moving on with Raw. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about, and we're already, 12 minutes in, and we're not even halfway through Raw. Ow. Alright, so Finn Balor and Damian Priest beat #DIY to retain the undisputed tag team titles. After the match, the Judgment Day then beat down R-Truth after R-Truth cost JD McDonough his Royal Rumble shot. The Miz ran down to try to help Truth, but was also taken out by Judgment Day. Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark beat Chelsea Green and Piper Niven. Seth Rollins confronted Cody Rhodes and basically asked Cody to not challenge Roman Reigns for WrestleMania, but instead challenge him, saying that he's the working champion and it would be a better match if the two of them face each other. Which, again, with Punk getting injured and Seth himself being injured, I feel like WWE's kind of just like in free-fall mode. They're making it up as they go along now. They had a set plan and now they're like, we gotta do something. And I think the idea of, Seth basically saying, hey, challenge me for the Workhorse World title, I think that's an interesting step to take, but it's not the match the fans want. They want to see Cody beat Reigns. Jey Uso beat Bronson Reed. Gunther beat Kofi Kingston to retain the Intercontinental Championship. Asuka and Kairi Sane beat Natalya and Tegan Nox. Bayley attempted to challenge Rhea Ripley for WrestleMania. At least it seemed that way before Nia Jax came out and attacked Rhea Ripley, saying that Bayley's going to have to find someone else because Rhea's not going to make it to Mania, setting up a match between Rhea and Nia, most likely for Elimination Chamber. And in the main event, Drew McIntyre beat Sami Zayn with a low blow and a Claymore kick. Once again, furthering Drew's heel persona and fully embracing it. And he's doing great work as a heel. Heel Drew is doing amazing work. From the beatdown on Punk to his social media taunting of Punk. I mean, it's just been great heel work from him. Moving on to SmackDown, Kevin Owens beat Austin Theory, fighting off interference from Grayson Waller and Logan Paul. Ow. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate won a fatal 4-way tag team match, beating the LWO, Legado del Fantasma, and Pretty Deadly. Bayley came out with the rest of Damage Control to announce her WrestleMania opponent before turning on Damage Control, taking them out with a lead pipe and challenging Io for WrestleMania, which was the good decision. And they actually kind of referenced the Batista Evolution storyline when Batista turned on Triple H after hearing Triple H and Ric Flair basically talk about him backstage. They did a callback to that, which was pretty cool. So yes, we are getting Bayley versus Io, which, yeah, that was a match that had to happen. But I know it's going to be kind of... You want to see Bayley win, but at the same time, Io's been doing some great work, and she's more of a kind of... She's the good guy who's in a bad guy group. I mean, she gets great reactions, and like I said, she's more like the face who's part of a heel group. But she herself is not a bad guy. So it'll be sad to see her lose the title to Bayley, if that is the direction they go with. The Street Profits and Bobby Lashley were set to face the Final Testament. The match never got started as the two teams brawled with each other beforehand. Tiffany Stratton beat Mia Yim. And the final segment of the night, Cody Rhodes came out confronting Roman Reigns to make his WrestleMania decision. He, of course, challenged Roman Reigns, as we all thought he was going to do. But then, Cody said something that would upset the entire wrestling world when he said, "I'm challenging you, but not at WrestleMania." And with those words, after he said that, The Rock comes out and stares down Roman Reigns to close out the show. And just like that, this entire last year of Cody, you know, losing last year at WrestleMania, feuding with everyone in order to stay relevant, being one of the main workhorses of the company, pulling off a back-to-back Royal Rumble win, something that's only ever been done by Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold Steve Austin, wins the Royal Rumble, gets his rematch with Reigns, and then steps aside so The Rock can face Roman Reigns. And it's just like, what? Why? Now, they never clarified anything beyond that. All Cody basically said is, "I'm challenging you, Roman, for the world title, but not at WrestleMania." And it's like, what? Why? And then, you know, The Rock comes out, stares down Roman, so it's like, okay, Cody and Reigns are going to fight for the world title at another pay-per-view, and then it's The Rock versus Reigns? And it's just like, what is going on? Why would you do this? We want to see Cody versus Reigns at WrestleMania for the world title, because that's the only event where Reigns losing is a possibility. We know it's not going to happen anywhere else or at any other pay-per-view or premium live event, whatever you want to call it. So why would you do this? I mean, for so long we thought it was going to be, you know, Cody beats Reigns at WrestleMania, maybe due to interference from The Rock, and then Reigns versus Rock at SummerSlam or something. But no, it's going to be, what, Cody versus Reigns at Elimination Chamber? No, that's not going to happen. So, now, we don't really have much of an explanation, so we'll have to wait till Monday Night Raw to get this explanation, but, ooh, people are mad. Alright, but that does it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I make new videos all the time. Stay tuned for next week's Versus, and next week we'll continue our LEGO Batman 3 walkthrough. Let me know in the comments below which you guys thought of the Royal Rumble and this past week's Raw and SmackDown. What do you guys think of the WrestleMania matches, which are now falling into place? What do you think of CM Punk's injury, how that affects the whole landscape of WWE? And what do you think of The Rock taking Cody's spot at WrestleMania? I mean, CM Punk basically predicted this. He basically said what happened to him 10 years ago is what's going to happen to Cody. He just didn't think he was going to be the exact same thing. Alright, that's it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. Guy01 and The Rock, signing out. Bye, guys.